All right, Chelsea fans, I'm back from vacation, which means we have another video. We're going to be taking a different look at how Arsenal's trajectory versus Chelsea's are very different. Essentially, our rebuilding is almost as good as their best ever. What do you think? All right, so like I said, I am not going to be getting into the details of everything. We had a full-length podcast that is out today, so if you want to hear about an hour of breaking down a little bit more of the specifics of this match, go check it out via podcast, anywhere you get them. But instead, I kind of want to talk about like where Chelsea and Arsenal are in their with some context, right? So obviously, Arteta has been with Arsenal since essentially December 2019. He's picked up right before the January transfer window for them. So he's been there, essentially 3 seasons on his been building this project for a while. Arteta studied under Pep, was his assistant for a long time. And so obviously he's going to have some like long-term ideas. I believe Arteta even came through the Barcelona youth system back in the day. So he's, going to have a long-term vision. And essentially at the same time, Arsenal were struggling. They have not figured out until today, right now, how they were going to move on from Arsene Wenger. They have been chopping and changing much like United without a real answer or plan. So that's where Arsenal are, right? They've been outside of Europe. They've been a non-competitor in the Premier League. They've just really been outside looking in, and it's taken them 3 years to get here. All the while, Chelsea, in the same time, since Arteta's been there, has won countless trophies, European Cup, still wearing the only team in London with a European Cup ×2 shirt to remind everybody there's different levels of this game. Chelsea, again, rebuilding, just sacked Tuchel, brought in Graham Potter. He is also very idealistic, has a vision, wants to build things, might take a year and a half, a year, 2 years to get there. But we're at the very beginning of that Potter project, whereas they are like in peak Arteta time as well. So that's the frame I'm taking. That's the way I'm looking at it, is that Arsenal's best in a decade is as good as Chelsea's worst in a rebuilding stop. Like, Arsenal still aren't a good team. They had their best 11 out there. We had our backups in a lot of positions out there. We had a non-existent midfield, and our attackers provided nothing because we gave them nothing to work with. So I just think that it's really interesting when you look at these two teams to see kind of where we're at. There's a lot of context here that, yeah, we lost, but we lost to Arsenal at their absolute peak, and we're at our one of our middle of the table worst that we've been in years, and it's still not good. So obviously the table as it stands from 2019, 2020, this is where Arsenal were. They finished this season in 8th. It wasn't like, oh, they went on a bad run. Arsenal were mid-tables from essentially week 5. They lost to Sheffield United, and it was all downhill from there. Arteta came in December. So this is December 5th. I think he came in the 19th. So this is Arteta from here on, right? Is this Everton match? They drew, and it was still really average the rest of the season. I mean, they were in 10th until the very end when they won on the last day, 3-2 against Watford to jump back up to 8th. So, like, not great by any means. This is their project. At the same time, we're top 4, right? We're being competitive. We were in the top race the entire time. And again, this is back in 2019-20 season, which I think a lot of us would say was a little bit disappointing. We're still essentially in the top 4 spots the entire season. Consistency at the highest. Then you move on to this season. Obviously, Arsenal in first. They're having a great season. This is literally the best they've been in a decade, maybe even more, maybe even 2 decades. 2002. Invincibles around that time, like this in 20 years might be their peak. Obviously, we've slid down to 7th. We've been in and amongst it until the last few matches, right? We're winless in 4. Not great. 2 defeats in a row have definitely slowed our progress. But we're 5 points off top 4 with a game in hand. So that's not that unreasonable for us to be right back in top 4 when we're level on matches. So again, just what I want to say. I know we're 13 behind them right now, but we're in very different places right now. And again, Arsenal barely beat Chelsea when they're at their best, and we're realistically at our worst. And that's honestly what I think of that one. Again, I'm going to look at rosters here real quick. On the Chelsea lineup side, you could make an argument right now, very realistically, that Mendy is our number 2 goalkeeper. The way that Kepa has been playing, and stylistically, he's much closer to Sanchez at Brighton for Potter. You could see him probably going with Kepa long term. So you could say, realistically, our backup goalkeeper, who's also a Champions League winner, Chalobah, is probably our backup right center back. By the way, we're not even playing our best formation. We couldn't play back 3. But you probably would have Fofana in there if he's healthy. Thiago Silva starts. Aspie is our second, maybe third right back, right? Depending. We've seen Chalobah play right back. Reece James is de facto number 1, probably top 3 in the world. We're missing him. You got Cucurella, who's definitely was our backup left wing back, left back behind Chilwell. Chilwell was definitely the standout performer this season, out with injuries. All right. So we have 1 de facto starter out of the goalkeeper and back line, and we're playing the wrong formation. Jorginho, Loftus-Cheek, our middle 2, not great. Kovacic came on, was an instant impact, whether it was Kova J5 or Kova Ruben. If Kovacic is actually healthy and can play 90, way different game, completely different game. You've got Sterling, Mason, and Kai. They didn't have a good game. I would say they didn't have a good game because the midfield struggled significantly in this one. But you could probably, looking at the bench, say that is our strongest attack at this point. Maybe you could put Pulisic in. I think he definitely looks good, offers something different. But that's the forward line as we have it. So to only have, let's see, maybe one of Jorginho, Ruben Loftus-Cheek on the day is a starting midfielder. So you're missing a midfielder, and our attack is just not firing because the team behind them are decimated and have no chemistry or things. That's not great. This is the best Arsenal, like top to bottom. No one's coming in off the bench. Even Zinchenko was back after injury. You look at their bench here, none of these players are going to go into their first team. This was 100% their best team that they can play. I think that's the biggest difference, is that our depth and our backups can go toe-to-toe with the number 1 Arsenal team in 20 years. That's not great. That is not that impressive. And that is what I have to say about this one, is that I just think that it's overhyped. Chelsea battled. We look good on the day. In terms of the fight and the grit, because we knew that we were limping into this match, and we are missing key players. Our probably 2 best players in N'Golo Kante and Reece James completely out. Fofana, big summer signing, out. Koulibaly still nursing injury. Kovacic nursing injury. Hypothetically, Graham Potter at the end of the season could have a completely different 11, Kepa back in goal, than what we see today. I think that Mount will probably retain his place in the attack. Raheem will probably maintain his place in attack. You know, Aubameyang is 50-50 at this point. This will be the Arsenal team you see at the end of the season trying to win something. There's just levels to this game. Arsenal are in a moment right now where they are literally 2 injuries away from completely falling apart. And of course, you know, Chelsea in our best seasons, we have been blessed to not have to worry about injuries, and that is a big part of it. You look at the 2020-21 season, Chelsea in 4th, Arsenal down in 8th. Again, that's after Arteta has an entire season. 51 XG4, 43 with an 8-8 difference. Bang average. Chelsea, 62, 30, difference 30. Levels to this game. And you could still say massive rebuilding at this time. And you look at the roster. So then you go to the next season, 21-22, Chelsea 3rd, Arsenal 5th. At least they're knocking on the door. We have not dropped our standard. Arsenal do every single season. They're up to 67 goal difference. With a 16 difference. Right? Chelsea 70 XG with 38 with a 32.5. All I'm saying is you won one, right? It's been 3 years. We've lost at home to these mugs. But there's still levels to this. You may win the one-off, but the standards of excellence, Chelsea are far better and far bigger than Arsenal. You're having a moment. Congrats. It's not going to end that way for you. You're literally 2 injuries away. Chelsea find ways to win and compete and be at the top every single season, no matter what the excuse is. Manager sacking, N'Golo Kante injuries, players coming and going. We have all of that. And just to sit back and kind of hear, Arsenal fans want to take a shot, like, you better take it because you're not going to get it again, right? The wheels are going to fall off. You're going to go back to mediocrity, like your big yo-yo club at this point. You'll probably get top 4 this season, but that's first in how many seasons? Like, when's the last time you guys played on a Tuesday, Wednesday? You're a perennial Thursday team. So I'm super upset that we lost, but at the same time, Chelsea are far bigger, far better, consistently at the top. Arsenal nowhere close. I just showed you FBref, the stats. Links will be in the description. The table doesn't lie. Arsenal, you're middle of the table team that have finally gotten your moment. You're finally in the sunshine, but it's not going to last. Let's be honest. So anyways, I'm out. I'll be back reacting to the Dortmund draw for Chelsea tomorrow. Much more content. We have Manchester City in the EFL Cup on Wednesday. We'll be covering that as well. So anyways, I'm out. Make sure you subscribe, like the channel, and check us out on podcasts.